The fire pits are a bit of a revelation to me. You know, man loves fire and all of that. They've got grill options. They've given us all sorts of ideas for our garden back home in terms of sunken fire pits.
Do you not have fire pits in Europe? Is that not a thing? Welcome back to the channel, guys. How's it going? So, I'm thinking about living the RV life. Possibly. It's not anything that's going to happen immediately. It's just a future goal of mine, okay? So, I do reaction videos as well. So, we're going to react to a video about RV culture shock contrasts between American and European campgrounds. I just got done doing a video, actually, about the differences in North American versus European RVs. This one is going to be more focused on the actual campgrounds themselves. So I guess campground life at the campground, culture shock, or at least it says here, right? RV culture shock. So anyways, the channel is Early Retirement Wanderlust. So links down below for that. And there's a description here. So it says, having spent over 600 nights on UK and European campsites in our VW camper van, we have ventured over to the US for a 5-week road trip in a rental RV to the Rocky Mountains. Okay, so this is Europeans coming to the United States. So this is coming from a European perspective. It says, how different can it be? In a word, totally. So in one word, it's just totally different. From the size of the pitches to the services on offer. We may as well be on a different planet. Join us as we look at some of the main ways American RV sites differ from our sites at home in the UK and Europe. We are Richard and Jackie, and we live in the UK. Okay, so the British, or at least they live there. It doesn't say they're from there, right? We retired from teaching at the age of 51 just over a year ago. Our plans for early retirement include relocating to the Yorkshire Dales, developing our forever home, and traveling the UK, Europe, and eventually the world in our VW camper van Nelson. All right, so yeah, let's check it out. I'm excited to see it, and the campgrounds are different. That's definitely not something I expected. How much different can a campground really be, right? We're going to find out.
Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
And we're currently on a 5-week RV road trip around the Rocky Mountains of the United States. And we thought we'd take this opportunity to take you through the differences between American campsites and European campsites.
Okay, yeah, so they're definitely British, and they have two completely different British accents. Hers is a little harder to understand than his. I would believe that they came from two different regions of Britain, I believe. I like this picture. That's a nice, cool picture, actually. It's kind of like at some points it's hard to see where the sky stops and like the reflection of the water begins, kind of. That's pretty cool. Retired at 50. Living the life, guys. Finding the hidden places. I mean, it's a nice set of pictures. They've been some places. Very nice.
Regular viewers of our channel will know that we absolutely love travelling. We have a VW camper van in the UK, and we travel throughout Europe and the UK, whether it's summer or winter.
But we're currently on a 5-week road trip around the Rocky Mountains in the US in a rental RV that is about as far away from Nelson, our camper van, as you can get. It's a 25-foot American RV that we think is absolutely massive, but in reality out here, it's still pretty tiny.
And staying on the different campsites that we have done so far on our tour of the Rocky Mountains, we've realised just how differently the campsites are set up as well. They are set up for these huge RVs, and it just blows our mind, the differences.
It couldn't be further away from UK and European camping than you could get. But we're going to take you around the site we're on today, which is a site in Buffalo, Wyoming. And
you know, one thing, now I do agree, real camping is with a tent. You go out there, you pitch a tent, You're in the woods. That's real camping. Okay. RV life. I just want to travel around instead of being stuck here. I'd be able to do travel vlogs, document the journey, still do reactions on the road if I have a little, a spot for my laptop and stuff,
And it is a cracker. It is probably one of the best set up campsites I've ever been on. It's incredible. But have a look.
Let's do it. Also, her accent didn't seem quite as thick this time. I think it was just that opening sentence or whatever. Koa Campground, huh? Buffalo, Wyoming. I've never been to Wyoming. I've never been farther west than, I've been to the Mississippi River. That's it. I've never been on the other side of the Mississippi, but I've been to the Mississippi in Illinois, and I was looking over into Missouri. Me and Amy both. When we went down and checked out the eclipse that happened down there. Was it 2 years ago? I can't remember. It's a nice little spot, I guess. I mean, it doesn't look much different than here, besides the tractor thing, but the landscape looks very similar to where I'm at in northern Indiana. Except, obviously we wouldn't have mountains.
This is our own little standard pitch. It's a back-in pitch. It does have electricity, it does have sewer, and it does have water included.
How cool is this pitch? This is their super deluxe pitch that gives you a patio, it's got a Weber barbecue, it's got a proper dining room table, and some really comfy chairs as well.
Okay, so that's what a pitch is. I didn't know what they were talking about in the description. It says, differences between the pitch. So that's just the site. That's what we would call here in the United States, just the campsite, like the lot, maybe, depending on the area. Some people might call it a lot or a site, but yeah. And that is very nice, actually. That's pretty nice. That it, includes all that stuff when you rent a spot for the night. That's pretty cool.
It does come at a cost, though.
So this is a different.
And that's the thing, is that that's not standard. That's not standard. I've been to campgrounds, and a lot of them, you got your site, your lot, your pitch, whatever, and that's what you got. You got your electric hookup, you got your water hookup, and you got your spot to put your sewage down the thing. Not always. Sometimes you don't even have a spot for the sewage, and then you just have like the shared shower house bathroom area that everybody would just use. But you would still get your water and electric hookup. And normally it doesn't come with anything at all, except for a fire pit ring. But you got to bring your own chairs. You got to bring your own grill if you want to grill, stuff like that. At least the ones I've been to. I can't speak for all campgrounds, of course.
Different type of luxury pitch in the fact that it's a pull through, so you don't actually have to reverse in. So when you've got your massive rig, you can drive in and then drive straight back out. So this is the super deluxe suite, which has got like its own private yard that we talked about. It's incredible. You just pull your van in down here and you've got your own little party central. Like a lot of US campsites, they've got designated exercise areas for dogs, which keeps dogs separate from the site. So very rarely will you see dogs running around the site, but they've got their own little play areas to play in.
Nice, because we would have Tesla with us. That's one thing I'm definitely curious about. He's a lovely dog. He's energetic for sure. But he's super friendly. A Bernedoodle, I mean. He's a wonderful dog. He just needs room to play.
So before we've even arrived at the campsite, we've had so many decisions that we need to make. When you book online, you have to decide whether you want a pull-through pitch or a back-in pitch. You have to say what amp electricity you need. The choice is here, 30 or 50 amps. In Europe, we may be lucky if we get between 6 and 12 amps. You have to say what size your RV is. You have to decide whether you need parking next to it for the great big Jeeps that all these big American RVs pull through with them. It's just mind-boggling.
And so is...
Yeah, that's crazy. So 6 to 12 amps, that's it? That's it. But I guess that makes sense. No air conditioners, right? We learned that in the last video. No microwaves, stuff like that. Less electrical wiring inside of it, USB ports and all that.
The pricing structure, and we've been quite shocked in America as to the cost that these campsites can run to. They are very, very polished, and as Jackie says, they've got loads of facilities and services on offer.
But the thing is where I can tell you right now where they're at, that's expensive. That's an expensive campsite. They range in price, anywhere from free actually but for free you're not getting a full site. For free you're getting, you're going to like public land, like Bureau of Land Management, like government owned land. You can be in a spot for up to 2 weeks completely free, off grid, no water hookup, no electric. That's where you need the solar panels and the battery backup, or the like the generator backups and stuff like that, and the giant water tank to be able to last a week, whatever, at a time. But yeah, it can range from that to a couple $100 a night for full amenities or whatever.
But it comes at a price. The most expensive campsites can be up to $120 a night, and the cheapest campsite, which didn't have any services at all, was right down to $30 a night. We briefly mentioned the electricity options, and we've not seen anything quite like it in the UK or Europe because people don't have such a demand in Europe and the UK for electricity, whereas out here, a lot of the units are at least having one air conditioning unit, and some of the bigger RVs have 3 air conditioning units. So you have a 20 amp option, a 30 amp option, or a 50 amp option. We run 30 at the moment, and we're not quite sure why we need that, but they always seem to put us on a 30 amp option. We never use the aircon because of the time of year. But the difference between the various RVs that are on site and the power demand for those is quite incredible.
The next thing doesn't affect us in Europe either way.
Well, and the thing is too, is that there's a lot of people here that are full-time RVers too, digital nomads, right? Like, so if we do decide to make the leap and get an RV, we would be digital nomad, right? We would be doing YouTube full time on the road. We would have to have our somewhere to hook up the MacBook and maybe an extra monitor, stuff like that, and recording lights if which actually this one's not even turned on. My lighting, that one's not turned. My lighting sucks right now. I don't care. We're doing the reaction anyways. But yeah, sewage, that's another thing too, because we have giant sewage tanks in our RVs here.
We don't have any onboard facilities in our tiny little camper van Nelson, but in the US, they don't have cassettes that go in with their sewage system. They have a really disgusting hose that you have to get out every time you stop and plug it into I don't know, what do you call it, Rich?
Sewage system?
A sewage system, yeah. But yeah, you have to sort out this hose and connect it in. But then you do have it connected permanently until you leave.
On a positive note, I suppose the toilet system in the RV just runs off fresh water, so...
And you got the tank too, so like if you're boondocking off grid for like a week or two at a time, it's in a tank that fills up, and then the hose, then you go to a place and then you just dump it all out at once, basically.
It hasn't got any of the nasty... The toilet system in the RV just runs off fresh water, so it hasn't got any of the nasty chemicals that the cassette toilets have in, but it's not something that I particularly look forward to, doing the black water tank. It is part of the culture out here, and I just don't think you would find a campsite in America that doesn't have sewage hookup.
I don't think you'd find an RV in America that had cassettes either.
You would find one that don't have sewage hookup though. There's for sure. Yeah, there's some that don't have sewage hookup where it's just water and electric and a lot. That's it. And you just use the onboard, like they'll have you just don't use your own toilet. Or you use your toilet, fill your tank in the RV, dump it later. But usually you would just use the facilities that they have there. They would have a shower house and a bathroom and stuff. It's just clearly not one that they've been to, but I can vouch. I've been to ones that's like that don't have sewage for sure. Besides obviously the sewage in the shower house where you have the bathroom toilet facilities. You need to go potty. Dog needs out. I'll be back. Wow, it is dark outside. I know I'm staring at my not studio lights. They're shitty lights, but they're bright. And but wow, it is dark outside, guys. I just went out there. I couldn't see a damn thing. That's crazy.
Another addition that every campsite pitch seems to have is shore water, which means that you connect your RV via a hose up to the mains water. It means that you're not draining water from your tanks, and every time you run any taps in the van, it just comes straight from the mains.
Right.
It's actually quite handy, and it means that you don't need water pumps in the van, and it's just a really easy thing to do when you pull up, is to just connect the electricity and to connect the water.
Fire
Yeah,
pits
yeah.
seem to be a big part of the American culture, and every campsite that we've gone to that allows fires will have a really...
What do you mean that allows fires? What the hell do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? You actually been to a campsite that doesn't allow fires? That's not real camp. That's not even close. You're just parking somewhere in an RV. I'm sorry. That's mind blowing. That's the craziest thing about this video so far. You absolutely have to have a fire pit and a fire. You don't have to have a fire going, you know, if you're doing it full time, I'm not going to be out there burning fire every single day probably, but like, that's just part of the thing. What do you mean? This is crazy.
That allows fires will have a really sturdy, huge fire pit right next to your pitch with a picnic bench as well, which has been fab.
The fire pits are a bit of a revelation to me. You know, man loves fire and all of that. They've got grill options. They've given us all sorts of ideas for our garden back home in terms of sunken fire pits.
Do you not have fire pits in Europe? Is that not a thing? Are you serious? This is we've had fire since the caveman days. Fire. Yes, we need a fire pit. Wow. You don't have fire pits like that in Europe? Maybe at least not in England. Like, interesting. That's crazy. I've seen some nice ones too. Nice ones where the grate, you can swivel it out of the way, put burrs on it, put it back, raise it, lower it above the fire, get the right temperature, the right distance from the flame. It's a whole art. It's amazing.
There's all sorts of ideas for our garden back home in terms of sunken fire pits and things like that. They're just really impressive, and it is quite nice sitting out with a campfire on an evening.
Probably the biggest thing on these campsites that's absolutely befuddled us is the size of the RVs. They range from a tiny one, which seemingly we are in, the small 25-footers, that they'd probably...
They range from that size to 40 feet or more, probably. Maybe more. 40 feet for sure.
Like a normal European-sized camper van, to huge 80-foot-long double-decker buses.
All of these...
Okay, I guess they do get bigger. 80 foot. Okay.
Massive RVs are seemingly built on what we would call a bus back home, so it's like a coach size. They've got pull-outs. We actually met a lovely couple last night who showed us round inside their RV, and it is quite incredible. The
cat stole my seat while I was gone, so I put him on my lap. He's gonna have to be good with it. I think he's comfortable though. All right, let me go back a second. I got distracted. I got another phone call.
Last night who showed us round inside their RV, and it is quite incredible the space that they have. But they're enormous, and I wouldn't really want to drive them.
One thing we did realise, though, from speaking to different people on the campsites, is a lot of these huge RVs are actually their homes. There's a lot of people, retired, the American retired community, that are on the move, and they will come do travelling in the summer while it's nice, and then they'll find a base for the winter and just stay there.
And that's what I want to do. That's, oh my God. That is so much what I want to do. That would be so cool. Would it not be so cool? Travel? Why be stuck in one spot when you can travel?
Another type of camper that you find on the campsites, again, which has just blown our mind, is really, really popular, and it's called a fifth wheeler. Don't know why it's called a fifth wheeler, because it's normally got 6 or 7 wheels, but yeah, fifth wheelers, Jackie?
They are huge. They are just enormous. I think there's one behind us that you could probably see.
That's the kind we would need, because it would be me, Amy, Anthony, and we would need an office or, you know, an area to record, whatever. Living in it full time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I want.
Words can't even describe them. They're not like English caravans.
And then the last type of camper that's becoming increasingly popular around here, and we're seeing lots of them, are little camping pods that fit on the back of pickup trucks. And I think it's sort of for that outdoor adventure, off-roading type feel.
Yeah. The one thing we did see quite a bit of, though, that was more when we were in the Rocky Mountains, Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons. I think the Sprinter-style vans are becoming more of a cult thing with the younger people in America.
When we're in Europe and the UK, we always judge the standard of a campsite by the quality of the toilet and shower blocks. And in the US, it is no different.
No. So all the campsites that we've stayed on so far actually have had immaculately clean toilets. And we've decided the reason why is because all these huge RVs don't actually use them. So when we pull up in our tiny little Cruise America RV, we go and use the toilet block for the showers. No one else uses them.
People look at us really strange when we're walking across the campsite in the morning with a towel. This is like, what on earth are they doing? They must be British, clearly.
And we have got the onboard facilities actually in our little RV, but it just seems easier to go to the shower block because that's what we do. One thing we
Yeah, and why not? Why not? Keep your own shower clean. It's there. Keep your own. Don't worry about your bath. Just do that when you're not on the campsite, when you're just off the grid. Yeah, when you're at the campsite, use the facilities that's there. Discounts always available, huh? How do you get discounts? Oh, for multi-day stays. Yeah. Yeah. Book more days in a row. Oh, yeah. This cat's pretty comfy down here.
have found when we go and book in these different campsites is the staff are just so friendly and they can't do enough for you, particularly if we haven't booked online and already prepaid. They will try their utmost to find some kind of system that will give us a discount, whether it be at one campsite, she went through everything. Are you members of AAA? Are you Uncle Sam? And then she went, oh, and you definitely don't count as old age. You're not over 55. And I said, well, we are retired. And she went, that's it. You can have the discount. And we've found that wherever we go, whether it be, we've said we're members of AA, we've seemed to have got a 10% discount.
But it is really difficult, therefore, to try and work out the costing structure. And to be honest, we haven't got a clue what we've paid for. It's just the end figure sort of sounds all right with taxes, so we just pay the bill.
Yeah, we have realised, though, it is expensive.
One of the things that we found on all of the campsites that we stayed at is a really good free Wi-Fi system. And for us, when we're traveling, we have got a really good phone package that allows us to roam and things like that. But it's always nice to just hook into Wi-Fi and use a bit of the local data as opposed to using our phones.
I was very excited last night when she said, and we've got full streaming Wi-Fi, so you can watch as much TV as you want as well. I was like, yes, happy days. 3 hours of Grey's Anatomy I watched last night.
That's just living in the wild, isn't it?
So we're 2 weeks into our 5-week trip, and so far we have had an absolute blast.
You know, that's another thing too, because we work online. We would have to have like a Starlink, like a satellite internet thing, especially like if we're trying to do like, you know, days on end off grid.
Campsites are truly amazing.
We've really enjoyed them. They are just very different to UK and European campsites. No better, no worse, just different. And we're enjoying our time over here.
Yep, we definitely think it's come at a cost though. They are more expensive. Mum is with us for another week, and then we've got 2 weeks travelling on our own. We're going to branch out a little bit, aren't we? We are going to try boondocking a little bit, I think they call it in America.
Yeah, we used to park ups and wild camping in Europe, and we really like that. But it's definitely put us outside our comfort zone, being on a different continent, and we're not quite sure how the land lies. We've chatted to a few locals and to
Bureau of Land Management, 2 weeks, free of charge. You just have to move after 2 weeks. That's the only rule pretty much. Oh, and it has to be, there is a rule. You have to be 100 yards from public roadways, 100 yards from waterways, public trails, you know, so 100 yards away from stuff, basically.
A few fellow RVers about how the land lies. So, yeah, we're going to have to be brave and put our big girls and boys pants on and get on with it.
Yeah,
to be fair, the national forests, apparently some of their car parks, I think it's probably set up for fishermen, but you can stay in at some of their car parks and it's free. I think you have to register. So we'll maybe try that first. And Richard's dream is to spend a night on a Walmart car park, because that's a big thing in America, that you can boondock on the Walmart car parks.
So there we go. It's all about making dreams. See you later.
Bye.
Yeah, America, man. I've stayed the night in a Walmart parking lot before, for sure. Yep. Not in an RV, just you know, just in a car. But anyways, yeah. So RV culture shock. That was a pretty interesting video, guys. Thanks for watching with me. Have a super fun, awesome day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.